Hello, everybody. This is a presentation about the 3D exploration with JigSpace. It's a re-recording or a second recording of a presentation that was given at Learn East 2020. My name is Peter Trusiak. I'm a digital learning lead for science with Anglophone School District West. And my hope is to help you explore a great program, a great application that can help enhance your teaching and engage your students in an online or face-to-face setting. So our goals for today are, we hope that you can navigate the JigSpace app to explore simulations, and also think about ways to use the JigSpace app as a tool to enhance your online or face-to-face teaching. Here's an introductory video that can give you a snapshot of different simulations that are included with JigSpace. So with that brief overview, you can see that these simulations have stunning visuals. They have a lot of detail to them, and they use augmented reality. So what augmented reality is you're taking a virtual object or virtual simulation and you're placing it into a real world setting. So it's extremely cool, extremely engaging for your students. And we're going to look at 4 possible lesson ideas that can go along with 4 simulations. So we're going to look at the coronavirus simulation because it's something that I think from K to 12 we'll be discussing with our students. We're going to look at Inside Planet Earth, which is, I think, suitable for K to 2 you and your world teachers. We're going to look at Inside the Eye, which is suitable for grade 8 students who are studying optics. And we'll look at the solar system simulation, which is suitable for grade 9. So I have a series of demo videos that were recorded using the JigSpace app, and they can give you a good introduction to what to expect when you open up a simulation and start to manipulate it. So if you look here in the on the floor, you'll see a plus sign that looks for a flat surface. Once you find that surface, you'll be able to place your simulation either on your classroom desk or your kitchen table, wherever you happen to be working. You'll be able to place that simulation and manipulate it with this, by touching the screen. So the main simulation is located here. You can see the recording button is down here in the left corner if you want to record what you're doing with the simulation. There's a block of text in the middle that changes as you progress throughout the simulation. So that's a piece of information that you can use. And this is a great simulation to compare, for example, the coronavirus with the other family of viruses that belong to the same spike protein family. And it talks also about how they're zoonotic, which means it can spread between animals, but it has jumped from animals to people. And that this has caused, obviously, a worldwide pandemic, and it's been very contagious, and that these viruses are common, but they don't always make the jump to humans. So if you're teaching high school science, this is a great opportunity to talk about spike protein, lipid membrane, and basically, again, cutting open the inside of a virus and taking a look on the inside. Pretty cool. Here too, you can talk about how RNA is actually being used in the development of vaccines. It's a new technique that they're trying to use to help give us protection against the virus. And another idea that comes to mind is in grade 6, we talk about living versus non-living. And I believe that that's a really interesting debate to have with your students. Do viruses constitute as living or non-living beings? So it also talks about how the virus is spread and some measures we can do to protect ourselves. And you can introduce some of the different rules that you may have in your school during this time by bringing up the simulation and talking about ways to protect ourselves and each other by doing some simple things. So coughing into your elbow, sanitizing surfaces. Okay, talks about the importance of staying home when you're sick. The importance of social distancing, physical distancing. And again, these are really interesting simulations or visuals that you can bring right into your classroom. So you can have this simulation floating in the middle of your classroom with students in the background. And also here at the very end, it talks about toilet paper is not a cure. So a great opportunity to talk to your students about fact versus fiction, and an important discussion to have. So I will pause this and move on to the next video. Again, here's again, some lesson ideas that may go along with the simulation, such as like we talked about here. Turning this into a prediction activity. So as a warm-up, you could also say, what do you think a virus looks like? Based on what you've heard, how is it spread? And then again, sort of activating that prior knowledge and using it for prediction. And the simulation being used as a tool to enhance your lesson, not as a replacement. So here is K-2 simulation that I think would be appropriate for you and your world, and something that you can talk about by asking students to make basic observations. What do you notice about our planet? What are some colors? What are some shapes? How does it move? And then you could pique their interest by asking them, what does it look like on the inside? And how do we know what it looks like on the inside? Okay. So that's probably a very interesting discussion for kindergarten, grade 1 or grade 2, because they probably haven't thought about what's on the inside of the earth, or what's under the ground, and what does it look like, and how could we know what it looks like? So those are all interesting discussions you can have with your students that will pique their curiosity and no doubt spark more and more questions. Okay, and also if you're teaching French immersion and these are students who are just starting to learn some of the vocabulary, again, a focus on basic observations such as colors, temperature, is it hot or cold, froid or chaud, how does the earth move? Again, basic things about making observations, because as scientists, that is the fundamental skill of a scientist, is making observations about the world around them, the world that they live in. This next simulation is suitable for grade 8 students studying optics. For obvious reasons, it gives you an opportunity to basically cut open an eye in half and take a look on the inside. And the main topic for this one is peripheral vision. Why is it different in low light? So cross-section of the eye. Okay, not as fun as a dissection, but a lot more practical and still very interesting and engaging. And if you start this discussion off with discussion of color blindness or nearsightedness, farsightedness, it gets students engaged about that, because a lot of them will have experience with with vision and different types of challenges that they have with their vision. So again, a nice visual of how the eye processes light. And the different angle, I guess, will have a really big effect on whether or not you're able to see in your periphery based on day and night. So a lot of rich discussions you can have with that simulation. You can also ask students to develop 3 or more curiosity questions about how the eye works. And again, make a personal connection with them if they have experience with wearing glasses or if they have trouble seeing at nighttime. Basic questions about the world around them and how it connects to them. These are great ways to spark their curiosity. Now, for grade 9, a great simulation, I think, would be the solar system, which is a vast simulation, one where you would have to basically walk around the room. So you can see here where I've planted it in the living room, and it grows. And again, to explore the solar system in this simulation effectively, you have to walk around, and it gives students a real sense of the vastness of our solar system. And one way that you could use this use this simulation is through a scavenger hunt. So I believe an effective way would be to say, well, what's the surface temperature of Jupiter? They would have to open the simulation, navigate through it, and get to the point where you're able to explore different planets, as you'll see in a moment. But a really great visual. It has the different directions of rotation and revolution. And again, as you get to this point in the simulation, you're able to explore different objects and explore the details in each one. So almost like a virtual scavenger hunt. And at the end of that scavenger hunt, you can ask students to pool some of their results together. And with some of these quantitative results, you could have them graph different things and look at different patterns. So, for example, surface temperature of Mercury compared to that of Pluto, and then the relation of the distance between the planets, the mass of the different planets. So again, really engaging and interesting. So again, I think some outcomes to focus on for the solar system simulation would be predictions and data analysis. And again, what I like to do to activate their prior knowledge is to talk about distance from the sun, smallest to largest, coldest to hottest, see if they can place themselves, if they can place those planets and objects in order. And of course, distance from the sun is the easiest one. And then you can ask them some different challenges to test their prior knowledge. So in this part of the presentation, we did some self-directed exploration. And in order to do that, if you're watching this video, it's very simple to download the app. You can use iOS or Android. I have an iOS device, so I know how to access it from my iPhone, for example. App Store, JigSpace, it's free. You do have to sign up. But again, you have a lot of options to use with the free version of this. We had a discussion, and some of the participants talked about using a jet engine and how basically the simulation looked at the jet engine and broke it down into very, very minute details. And another person looked at some of the Lego simulations that we have on this. So there's a lot of variety. It's the app itself is rated as 4+, so it's a wide age range that is captured by these simulations. Now, in a concrete way, how do we use this in your classroom? We talked about a few ideas. One is through a consumer of content, which we've been doing up until this point. But also as a co-creator of content, you can record your own lessons, You may even have an opportunity to have students record their own presentations. And the big positive with that would be you could record it en français aussi, because the JIG simulations are English only. However, if you have a French voiceover, you could introduce important vocabulary. And then the third way, which we haven't talked about yet, is a creator of your own original simulations through JIG Workshop. I'll show you a brief demo video of that coming up. So when you record in the JigSpace app, audio is not part of the recording, unfortunately. However, there are several ways you could record your own video lesson, including through Microsoft Teams, which I'm doing right now. Basically creating a short video of you manipulating the simulation. And then as you're teaching it to your students in a face-to-face setting, you could record the audio from your Teams, Microsoft Teams program, and that could be used as a video lesson for students who miss the lesson that you're giving. Another way is to import this video into iMovie and record a voiceover. So that's another fairly simple way to do it. An extra step, but again, if we are in an online setting, if we find ourselves back in an online setting, that is something that would be valuable for students to have going forward. So one more video, it's going to be the JIG Workshop app. And I'm going to press play and show you part of the introduction to the JIG Workshop app. So when you open the JIG Workshop app, you'll get a tutorial. And it's a fairly simple tutorial, but it just helps you navigate the different pieces of the puzzle. And I believe the first one is launching a rocket. I think another one is navigating a drone or creating a drone simulation. So these are very, very short, simple ones. Creating a new JIG, by looking at the menu on the left, you're able to select different characters. And you can see at the top that they also have different subject areas as well. And you can move it in 3D space. And think of it almost as a cross between a PowerPoint and a stop motion video. Okay, so you'll have different pages and different parts of the animation that will go together. And this may seem like I've tried it and I've found it a little bit time consuming from the teacher perspective. But if a student were to take this on as an alternative project, for example, instead of giving a PowerPoint presentation or giving a speech in front of the class, if they were able to create a simple simulation using this app, I think that would be a great way for those who wish to explore it. And as we all know, students can often catch on to this technology faster than adults. And if it engages them, why not? It's another tool that they can use to express their learning, and they can engage their classmates with an interesting simulation. So again, I encourage you, just as an introduction, I encourage you to check out that app once you've looked at the JigSpace simulator, and once you've experimented a bit with recording your own lessons and simulations. Go to the App Store and look at JIG Workshop. It's also free. And it may be a very interesting and engaging tool for you and your students going forward. So that concludes our presentation, our secondary recording of this presentation. And I just wanted to thank you for listening. If you have any questions about the JigSpace app, and if you have any ideas on how to use it in your classroom, please feel free to contact me and share ideas. My email address is peter.trusiak@mbed.mb.ca. And most importantly, have a great start to the school year. Thank you for listening.